Jen. Jen is with us in Delaware. Hey, Jen, what's up?
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. How can I help?
My husband and I are doctors of physical therapy with 17 years experience, and we opened our own private practice in July of 2019. We started with one location with just the two of us, and we now have 2 locations, 7 full-time employees, and a couple part-time college student employees.
Wow.
Our plan is to grow to 4 clinic locations, but since we are an insurance-based company, it's been very difficult for us to save money to move forward with that because it seems that reimbursements continue to decrease. So I was curious if you had any suggestions on how we could maybe budget better for growth when our reimbursement is unpredictable, seems to always decrease, and can be delayed sometimes weeks or months from the time of service.
Decreased? You mean they're paying you less?
Yes.
Well, at what point do they pay you little enough that you no longer deal with them?
Well, unfortunately, 60% of our patients are Medicare, and we don't have a lot of bargaining power with the government on that.
No, you don't.
And
But
they
the only
always
bargaining power you have is get out of that part of the business if they make it unprofitable. And I know lots of docs that have.
Right.
That's why I'm asking.
That's a tough
At
call.
what point
Well,
do they lower this so far, the insurance claim or the Medicare claim, they lower it so far that it makes it not worth doing?
Well, I guess if we got below that at least break-even number, we're probably about 10% margin with them.
Man.
Yeah, healthcare stuff.
Yeah. No, it's not just healthcare stuff. It's business model stuff. So this is what's driving stuff like concierge medicine. You know that, right?
Right.
Because
we do have some people in our area that do a cash-based service. I just don't know in the area that we live in if that would be something that we could live off of.
Well, you can't live off of no margin. I mean, if you're losing 20 cents a watermelon, you don't want to get a bigger truck.
Right.
So, I mean, we gotta think this through. I'm not saying you're there today, but what you're describing is you're trying to get more and more of the kind of customers that you don't like.
Right. We have dropped some of the lower paying insurances, the private insurances that were starting to pay us less than what it cost us to treat a patient. So we have dropped those.
Yeah, you have to.
Because, we just can't treat them. And luckily for us, it was a very low percentage of those patients that we did have on our caseload.
Exactly.
And we offer them for out-of-network benefits. So that is an option that we've gone to. Unfortunately, a lot of Medicare people are on a fixed income, so they don't have that option of
I understand.
paying out of pocket. They'll just go somewhere else.
Exactly, and that's the government's problem. It's not yours. You have a business model problem. Okay, you're not running a nonprofit, and so you don't have a choice in this. I mean, I love your compassion, and it makes your heart sad. It makes mine sad too. But you can't destroy your ability to stay open because we're sad over this group of people over here on the side. And so, you have to drop those when they're unprofitable. It reaches a point, and Medicare may reach that point. It has in other parts of your world, not necessarily PT, but where you are, but other parts of the medical world, people are just abandoning it because it's not worth screwing with. And again, if the margins get so tight, it's not healthy growth. Let's say that your mix went to 80% Medicare instead of 60%. But you could grow 6 stores instead of 2, right? You don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that because now you've built a whole network of stores that are dependent upon a dying profit margin. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
And so the more I can move, if I'm you, if I grow the stores slower, but I can move my mix to less and less of the low margin mix, then the better off the more stable you're going to be, the more you're controlling your own destiny. And so I would rather have 3 stores than 6 that are highly profitable and that we're doing good volume in them, but the mix is not. The mix might be 40% Medicare and 60% the other, rather than the other way around, because you're moving in a direction then that allows you to do that. So that's what I would do if I woke up in your shoes. Because what you're describing here is a revenue variable that you can't control
Sure.
and really have zero impact on.
Right.
And so they can come along and just change it unilaterally. And just
Right.
and then you're just screwed, you know.
And we're finding that even with private insurances,
exactly.
when they've got high deductibles and people just can't afford. They kind of look at PT sometimes as a luxury.
Yep.
That, well, maybe I could just get by without it. So they don't because they can't afford to come in and pay cash.
Yep. And
So
so that creates a different marketing thing where you say, okay, we have to convince you that this is important to get your money.
Right.
And because it is important, it's a valid service. I'm not being sarcastic about it, but instead of I'm coming over here because it's free and my doctor told me to come, it's free to me, but my insurance company's paying for it. Now I got to actually have some skin in the game, no pun intended.
Sure.
And and now I got to actually decide if PT is valuable. Now you've got a different client interaction that involves a value proposition. You have to show them that you're valuable, not just, they come in and it's a no-brainer. Doc told me to come. What do I do? Okay, do that. Okay. And you walk through, your process. So, you may be moving more of a privatized thing. So an example of that, I referred to it earlier. I've got several doc friends that have gone to concierge and they have to have a value proposition. I personally have a concierge doc and the value proposition is obvious for me. It's convenience. I can pick, and it's instant service and thorough service, and I can afford I'm a high income earner. I can afford to do that, and but the value proposition can't simply be you're going to sit in a waiting room for 6 hours and wish I knew how to do my scheduling.
Right.
I'm not playing that. Not for any amount. As a customer, I'm not. So it's a different world, and then you've got a different discussion with your customer at that point. So yeah, I think what this is forcing you to do is that volume might not be your answer on stores as much as addressing your product mix on the stores. That might be the way you go. That's just looking at it from the outside. I'm almost looking at it from a customer's perspective. I mean, I've done some PT from time to time, and I do value what you guys do personally. So, you're a hero. Appreciate what you do, and I appreciate the way you guys are looking at it. But it could be that the shifting private insurance market and the shifting Medicare market is telling you less volume, higher margin is a better model than high volume, low margin, that you can't control the revenue stream. And that's your mix. That's a philosophical product mix decision you've got to make. And then what are the unintended consequences of that? And it could be one of those is you have to learn to sell PT rather than just do PT. You have to teach the client why it's valuable, in other words. So they do give you their money. Because otherwise they're giving you the government's money or the insurance company's money, and they don't give a rip. That's a different transaction. So what are the other unintended consequences? I don't know what they are. I think one of the positive ones is you're going to have increased cash flow because you're not all your payments aren't delayed. They're cash on the barrelhead, and that's the direction that you go. So really, really good stuff.